where weather meets community. We are back and in full effect. I guess if you guys had just joined me, I had a different setup with 4 graphics. It was super dense, I thought. And I wanted to make it a little bit more streamlined for you guys right now, simply because there is a lot of weather to go over, especially as far as what's happening in the tropics, but not only in the tropics. I mean, we have a lot going on across the entire nation. So we're going to kick things off with a look at what's happening, of course, with Imelda. So remember, we talked about this atmospheric steering situation and what it was that was impacting the route. You've got to think of the mid-levels. You've got to think about the upper levels of the atmosphere, which is why we oftentimes show you everything that's happening throughout an entire profile, a thermal profile. So with that said, we're going to kick things off with this particular graphic. Once again, we're at a tropical storm still, Imelda. Sustained max wind speed 65 miles per hour. Northward at 8 miles per hour. She's going to turn soon enough. And there's a couple of reasons why. Remember, we have Umberto, right? And we have the boundary. And we have also, there's just a lot happening in the middle levels of the atmosphere. And I'll show you when I start to go with our live data sets that I think so many of you love. Central pressure is 987 millibars. I know you guys are like, wow. Hey, Natalia, how are you? Hugs. Mwah. By the way, let's introduce Natalia to everybody. She is a world-renowned opera singer. So I am excited to see her perform one day soon, someday soon, as soon as I get out of the studio. So Natalia, I'm so happy to see you. Frenchie Chef, South Florida. I'm sure you are wanting to know what's happening, Frenchie Chef. Look, Frenchie Chef, where exactly are you located? We need details because I don't want you to take it for granted that Imelda is going to veer east-northeastward, right? Because of steering mechanisms that we talked about last Friday. We talked about that frontal boundary. We talked about what was happening at the jet stream. We talked about what's happening in the middle of the atmosphere, how Umberto was going to be a problem. You still may have problems in southern Florida. So just let me know exactly where you are and we'll give you some updates, okay? Jorge Garcia, thank you so much for joining me. I love when you guys join me, especially on a Monday night. Dave Velez, verified weather watcher, is here and he's in full effect. I'm going to go through this quickly, guys. Okay, we will reach a category 1 hurricane for Imelda, but Imelda is OTS. We're going to be concerned for perhaps the Azores. We'll have other areas of concern, but I'm going to move through this very quickly simply because I have to get to our real-time data plot, and that is really the concern. You can actually see the cone of uncertainty there. You see that if I push back just a little bit? I always see I'm going to move on quickly, but you see that? Okay, alrighty. So it's going to cross over and it'll eventually make it into the Eastern Atlantic, but it's, that's going to be another situation. I want to get to what's happening across the nation here because we are going to start to see some changeover in precip type. I talked about what was happening up in Alaska, right? We're talking about the Bering Sea. We know this time of the year, that's where a lot of systems really develop. And I did tell you several weeks ago, I want to say probably 8 weeks ago, I told you guys that I already started seeing some oceanic data that was conferring my thoughts that the Bering Sea would be quite active, and then we're going to start to see those storms activate pretty quickly and be, I think, strong. And that's exactly what we're starting to see here. So if we go ahead and just start our hour-by-hour forecast and we pause this through October 1st, happy October, by the way. I want to be the first one to say happy October to you guys. October. Happy October. And to all the Libras, shout out to the Libras, my favorite sign of the zodiac. Okay. Notice here how we have this storm system that's going to develop, right? And it's going to continue to move across the Pacific Northwest and then impact the Intermountain West, right? The Northern Great Basin through portions of the Northern Rockies, you can see there, and then continue across the Northern Plains, parts of the Central Plains impacted. And then you're going to start to see some more weather impacting the UP, the upper Midwest. And really, this just becomes a hodgepodge of what? Fall weather, right? It just becomes a hodgepodge of fall into winter type weather. And then this is when we're tracking precip type. This is what I refer to as the best, most wonderful time of the year as far as weather goes, because this is where you really have to be super, super focused as to what's happening. Okay, so already out here, if you look out in the Atlantic, there you go. There's Umberto, right around St. George. So we know that they have some warned areas. And then, of course, here we have, you can actually look right under Jacksonville because it's extending out into the Atlantic Ocean there. It's because the font is too big. It's fine. We want to see it. There is Imelda. So you can see how some of Florida will be impacted, Georgia and the Carolinas through the mid-Atlantic. I'm happy that they did extend and they expanded the concerns for rip currents, and you'll see in just one moment in real time. But this is an overall look. We're going 240 hours. Okay, we're not doing past 300 hours. Oftentimes, I feel like if I do that, then we're stuck there where I have to just explain. Okay, we've got an update. Currently 61 degrees in Connecticut. Woohoo! Nice and cool, your type of weather. So yeah, we're only going to stick to 240 hours through October 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Okay. All right, and now what many of you have been waiting for. Greetings from Colorado. Rick, that was like perfect timing. Theodore Williams, perfect timing. Perfect timing. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Okay, here you go. We talked about the Bering Sea. We talked about how this was an interesting time, especially for these storm systems that will be developing, these Aleutian lows, right? So now we're watching what's happening here. I told you guys several weeks ago, you guys have been watching with me. Anytime we go to Weather Co-op TV, we know it's action weather time. I've been saying that the Bering Sea was going to be a problem. I do think it's going to be quite active. There are just a lot of indicators that are suggesting that that's going to be the case. And of course, when we're talking about that and we have that cold air, we got to look quickly who's going to get a changeover, okay? Who's going to get wintry type weather? Who's going to get icy spots? Things that would definitely be a big problem, okay? So now as we continue there, Rick just joined us. He's from Colorado. Look what happens here. Look what's happening in Colorado. You guys are getting a little bit of a change over there as an effect of the storm that's going to move on down, okay? It's already gearing up, okay? It's already moving into the direction there. So we're going to go ahead and get to our live data set. This is where we always like to play around a little bit in real time with you guys, okay? So I have a couple of things set up for you guys. We cannot forget we have NARDA. Imelda, yes, we have Imelda. We also have two other systems, two other pieces of information to study in the Eastern Pacific. It's been wild there. Then, of course, we have Umberto, now a Category 3, max sustained wind speed 115, and central pressure is in currently at about 900. Well, it is 963 millibars. Yeah, we got rain. That's right. We know. Did we not forecast rain here at Weather Co-op? We did. We were like, you're just hang tight. Hang tight. Hang tight. And thank you so much. I will accept that. I appreciate it. Work hard here to be a great meteorologist for you guys. Once again, should we do a recon and say, hey, let's take a look at what our recon mission looks like. So from the past 6 hours, mission number 23 into Imelda. Remember, we've got our recon track on very quickly. Let's pull off our tropical track. I think it's tropical 5. Yeah, tropical 5. And then we're just going to go, and I'm only going to loop an hour, okay? I'm only going to go last hour, and then we're going to go next 3 hours, okay? So just let's just play Weather Co-op TV, so we can see everything that's happening here with our Hurricane Hunter. Let's see if he's out there right now. Is he out there? Might be. No, looks like there's nothing happening right now. We have a central pressure of 998 and wind speed of 49. But let's just make sure, okay? Let's just go now to our current time slot, okay? Let's go now. Let's add our tropical product, and let's remove our recon. There's just a lot to look at, and sometimes it's just, I love to give you guys a lot of information, but TMI, seriously, sometimes it's TMI with Erica. Sometimes I'm like, here, you need more information? Okay, so, right, yes, I see, Rick, you do need more snow. I concur, and you're going to be getting it. It's perfect. So now we're just waiting for that cold air. We're waiting for all those storms to just work their way in. So it's exciting times. Right now we have a tropical storm Imelda, as we just said, 987 millibars, central pressure, max sustained wind speed rather, is 65 miles per hour with that central pressure of 987 millibars. And then here we can see all the watches and the warnings. I'm going to quickly remove that that tropical track number. Okay, I think number 5 is what I have it listed at. Okay, here we go. You can see where Imelda is. There's your central, there it is. Like there's the eye, there's your central pressure. This is what they're going to look at. That's what we have reading. I think it was at what, 997 millibars, was it? How quickly we forget 987. How quickly we forget. Okay. So we have our tropical storm warnings that have been issued by the National Weather Service. Of course, we've been keeping an eye on that. We know that there have been some serious concerns as far as Imelda goes. And so we are tracking the approach of, and really the impact of Imelda across Bermuda, and of course impacting the southeast coast of the lower 48 or the contiguous U.S. Locally heavy rainfall across coastal sections of southeast North Carolina. We could see some flash flooding, and we definitely could see some concerns for, I would say, I would even include Georgia. I'd include South Carolina, and I would even include the northernmost portion of Florida. I'm not going to exclude them. I'm going to include all of Florida, the peninsula, at least the east side of Florida, okay? Because I've just done this too many times. You know, like I've just done this way too many times. It ain't my first time at the rodeo, guys. I've covered way too many tropical storms and hurricanes. As you guys know, I think for me, the most memorable as a kid was Hurricane Gloria. I was little. We were watching Santa Barbara. I think I was like, yeah, oh God, I was a little girl, and my grandmother was watching Santa Barbara, that show, that novella, and we were watching Santa Barbara, and remember everybody was like, you know, we were taping up the windows, and I was like little, like just eating and like looking around. It was so fun. Thank God. I mean, so many things happened. Of course, it was devastating, but that was my first recollection. But professionally, it was Superstorm Sandy. So I've done this too many times. I just know we don't take it for granted. And notice how I think yesterday I did actually say this to you guys. I said I was a little. I didn't love how we didn't see that rip current statement all the way up and down the coast there. Now, we'll quickly pull off our radar just to get a better idea of all the alerts that we have, okay, that are posted. We definitely know this is our rip current alert, okay? We've got our rip current alert. And notice how we're seeing some areas that are excluded. Listen, I'm telling you now, don't take it for granted. Fort Pierce, Melbourne, Daytona Beach, don't, because right here what we have is an important statement here, which would include a wind advisory. Now, this is going to be a problem, of course, because it's impacting the coast, right? So gusty winds will blow around unsecured objects. Tree limbs can be blown down. Power outages may result. I actually have a power outage map, which I'm not going to include now, but I will update for you guys on our pages, okay, on YouTube, across all of our channels. So we are seeing a wind advisory that's in effect from Daytona Beach through Fort Pierce and Melbourne. Now, I personally, you know, I understand the reasoning. It could be layered here. Let me pull off, hang on, let me just pull off a wind. Let me pull off the wind warnings really fast. Okay. We're going to go ahead and check our own work right now. All right. We like to check our own work. I say something just because I say it doesn't mean it's true, people. All right. Hold on. I mean, when it comes to weather, generally it's true, but okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So this is, so I was like looking at this, thinking to myself, hi, everybody. Avin Gian, thank you so much for joining us. Graham 8164, Jose de la Cruz 338-121-189. That's a lot of numbers. Yeah. Well, welcome. Dude, my head's spinning. That's too many numbers for me right now. But I wanted to see, this is what I said to you guys. I was like, hey, I need to see this rip current statement up and down the coast of Florida, the east coast of Florida, right? And that's exactly what we're seeing. So to all of the surfers out there, no surfing. Beachgoers, no beach going. Okay, please don't do it. We don't want you to be a part of a nightly story, okay? Or a social media post. And then over that, they have the wind concern. Okay, so let's go ahead and take that off quickly so we can know that's your wind advisory. Let's do a quick update on what's happening with that. We have a high surf advisory. We have our rip current advisory as well. So high rip current risk remains in effect through late Wednesday night. Didn't I say that to you guys yesterday? I said I'm not. I think I saw something that said Monday. It was Monday night or Tuesday. I was like, no, just wait till Wednesday when you know the coast is clear. Hey, listen. You're speaking to somebody who does this professionally, all right? I wouldn't get out there. So if I wouldn't get out there, don't do it. I just don't do it. So for me personally, hang tight till Wednesday. I mean, the beach will still be there. Although there, I'm sure could be some measurable beach erosion, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. So we have our high surf advisory. Rip currents risks will be a big problem. Dangerous rip currents. High surf advisory. Large breaking waves, 6 to 10 feet expected in the surf zones. Okay, so coastal Volusia, Brevard, Indian River, St. Lucie, and Martin counties through 4 a.m. Thursday. So I love that they extended this. So, okay, localized beach erosion. This is what they're saying. I'd love to say otherwise. And no, we don't go into climate discussion. And I think I'm safe when I talk to you guys about beach erosion. It really does concern me in this case because then I won't get into it because then I'll be giving out some of my secret sauce. But I think what happens here is that we're looking at the threat, of course, of missing land. There's now beach erosion. You've got to account for that. Okay. So once again, we were back at our watches and warnings and we said, hey, there was the wind warning on top of that. Like what happened? And let's get our wind warning right back on top. Okay. So we're layering that, knowing that underneath that, we still have our rip current and our hazardous beach concerns. Okay. Of course, the purple, you all know your small, craft warning. Guys, take the boats out the water. No need for that right now. No need for any of that. So we also have lots of concerns for flooding. I'm going to go back down to Daytona. Was it that I saw an alert there? But I wanted to see this really quickly. We have a coastal flood advisory remaining in effect from 11 a.m. until 8 a.m. So this is a Tuesday through Friday morning. Minor coastal flooding. I'm going to take the word minor out. Take the word minor out. Coastal flooding. 1 to 2 feet of inundation above ground level expected in low-lying areas near shorelines and tidal waves. I say also take the word minor out because that's all subjective, dude. I'm 5'1". Minor to me is major, right? Because that's minor to somebody who's like 6'5", 6'2". Little old Erica, 6'1". I mean 5'1", 6'1", 5'1". I mean, that's nothing minor about that. And really, for a kid, for a car, for anybody, just no. Turn around, don't drown. I'm not going to go with that. I don't like that minor coastal flooding. I'm taking that word out. Coastal flooding, 1 to 2 feet of inundation above ground level, expected in low-lying areas near shorelines and tidal waters. That's right, guys. We've got some big concerns here. So just keep that in mind. I'm trying to just also log in here while I'm at it. Multitasking. Did you guys read that article? There's like a new article. It's like multitasking is bad. Actually, wholeheartedly agree with that. Okay. So we have minor flooding of lots, parks, and roads with isolated. Who wrote this? Take that out of there. Seriously. I'm going to drop them a note. They got to take the word minor out of there. They should just say coastal flooding. Okay. So there's that. And then see, didn't we say this yesterday, guys? Whoever was on here last night, didn't we say that we wanted this to be up and down the eastern seaboard? Like we were just not like to think that this and this wouldn't somehow impact everyone here, or somehow dismiss anyone along this area. It's a bit foolish, even if you're just thinking from a simply just basic perspective. No, we know that this is going to cause a lot of choppy seas. And so I really, really do like this update that I'm seeing to this map here. And it makes me very happy to see this recurrent risk as well. Coastal Cumberland, Lincoln, Knox counties from 8 a.m. Tuesday through Tuesday evening. So deep currents can sweep even the best swimmers away from the shore into deeper waters. So just be advised, okay? Just because you think, oh, hey, I'm not in this right now. Listen, I'm telling you, I've seen this enough times. You don't want to be a part of this. So just keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and add our tropical track again for, let's see here. I think it was 5. Yeah, for Imelda. So once again, let's add on also our spaghetti plot for Imelda. And guys, there's just so much to learn here. I mean, how phenomenal was this event? Just tracking it. I mean, are you guys as excited as I am? Look at that. And it's essentially taking the same path. There's a reason There's a reason. You have steering mechanisms. There are things, that operate that, when you're studying meteorology, it isn't as simple as just like, oh, there it is. It's just one thing. No, it really does take a lot there to impact what's happening. So remember, okay, because so here's the deal. Remember, Umberto is going is counterclockwise, right, or cyclonic, and then you have Imelda, who's cyclonic. And look at the see. Do you understand how Umberto was able to capture Imelda? Umberto was able to capture and really just pull Imelda along the same path. Listen, shout out to Umberto, but also shout out to that stationary boundary. Those two things, you guys will never look at a frontal boundary the same again. Hey, there's a storm right now in real time. And there's also some concerns here, more concerns for air quality. Yeah. Oh, we've got 3 storms. All right, let's talk about these storms. Okay, so here we go. Once again, what could happen here? Let's add our radar. And actually, let's go ahead in time. Let's go next 3 hours. Okay, quickly. Let me go next 3 hours first, okay? Let's go next 3 hours. Where's my radar? Oh, I didn't leave it on. Sorry. There you go. Okay. Okay, so do you see here how, is it giving me my return? Hold on, let me pause it. Hold on. Let's see something. Let me test something out here, guys. I'm testing. Give me a second. I'm testing to see if it's just, maybe I've just got to go back to my future cast. And that's fine too. If you saw this on my end, it's like a Frankenstein. It's got so much going on here. There you go. Okay, so it's giving me my last hour, 2 to 3 hours, and that's fine. I probably will have to reset it. I'm not going to do it right now, or I have to click off and come back onto it. Not doing that right now. So you can see here that we're looping last hour. And so right now we are watching that. And let me just remove those boxes quickly. I'm still going to leave our tropical track on. All right, there you go. This gives you an idea anyway. I mean, there's Umberto and there's Imelda. And he has swept her off her. I need a joke, guys. Come on. He swept her off her something. Because essentially what Umberto did was just pull his circulations, pulling in her circulation along with that stationary boundary, just really saving the day for so many people across CONUS. Of course, Bermuda, sending our love and our prayers and our blessings to folks there who might be impacted. And we are definitely seeing the increase in rain here. And we're seeing heavier downpours for some locally here. Wilmington, we're seeing some heavier rain for you. Myrtle Beach, seeing some heavier rain. Oak Island. Let's go a little farther inland. Warsaw, Rose Hill. Fairfield Harbor, where we're seeing some more let's see, flood advisories. This one in particular is a coastal one, but we are seeing those pockets here of heavy rain. And as we continue to move inland, we talked about that the concern was, of course, if it made landfall, what was going to happen. And I believe it was Henry McGriff who said, the concern, of course, is that it doesn't stop. Energy in motion stays in motion. It's going to keep going, right? And we're concerned about the Tennessee Valley, especially concerned about Eastern Tennessee. We're concerned about West Virginia in general, Appalachia. So Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky, we were concerned. And so thankfully what we're seeing here is that while they will get some rain, it's nothing like what could have happened. Okay. So, so much thanks, so much gratitude to that stationary boundary. And if you recall, last Friday, I wasn't a fan of the stationary boundary because I didn't like that those storms were moving so slowly across, right? They were just creeping and crawling across the southeast. So that was really a concern for me. So of course, that made me, think to myself, like, I really don't like the way these are operating. So for me, I I saw the slower storm cells last Friday, which gave us the threat of the flash flooding. So now, of course, that same stationary boundary has been super great to us because it has been our savior as far as the threat of Imelda making landfall. So wonderful news. Flood warning in effect here for St. John's River near Astor until further notice at 2.3 feet. Many docks become submerged along the river and in canals in the Astor community. Water enters yards of properties on Bartram Road, Holiday Circle, and along Wild Hog Road. On the Lake County side in Volusia County, water encroaches yards of homes on the riverside of Alice Drive as well. No wake zones are in effect from near the South Moon Canal to approximately 800 feet south of the Riverview Lodge. This is a wonderful, wonderful update. Let's see. Additional details include at 8:30 p.m. local time, stage was 2.3 feet. Bank full stage is 2 feet. All right, so we are definitely already in a hairy situation there, right? River expected to rise above flood stage just after midnight tonight and continue to 2.5 feet earlier Wednesday afternoon. Additional rises are possible thereafter. Once again, flood stage is 2.3 feet, but we do know that bank full stage here is 2 feet. So that's a really wonderful update. Thank you so much for that. We love giving you guys updates, especially when it comes to the dangers of flooding. And now, once again, we'll go back to, oh no, hang tight, guys. Did it again. We're going to go back to what's happening as far as air quality is concerned, and then we're going to go right to those other storms. And I'm only going to loop this last, let's see. I'm going to go last hour is all I'm going to do, okay? Let's loop this right now. We do have, and then it's as long as you guys don't mind the blinking down here, keep that in mind, okay? That's all that's happening down here. It's just a little blinky poo. Little blinky blink. That's all it is. Just because it's looping an hour, okay? So now if we go here, of course, we have our air quality issues. We talked about that yesterday. Let me just remove it really fast. Okay, I'm also going to remove our satellite and just take a look at what we have here. We know we have an air quality issue. And yesterday we talked about the threat of sulfate. Now here they have ozone air pollution concern. I'm going to add the concern for sulfate extinction. We talked about that yesterday. And if you do not recall, let me help you recall there quickly. I'm just going to add this very quickly. Let's see here. Right. Our sulfate extinction AOT. Is that right? Let's see. Yep, and we have it here in white. Can you see the bright white there? All right. I can change the color, but I don't want to right now just because I think we don't want to mess with any tables right now. All right, we have organic carbon extinction. Can't see, it's not as bad, right? We also, and we know that sulfate extinction has a lot to do with organic. It could be organic and, of course, inorganic. But we do know that there is definitely a concern there as far as sulfate. So that's that. And we know we have our air quality issues in and around Texas. Okay. And now we're going to continue to these storms, and we're going to track storms. We have a wind concern. We had the same wind concern yesterday in Oregon. We're seeing these nice, strong storms firing up. Let's look at this one who's crossing the state lines. He's crossing state lines, guys. Here he is. This is a northerly moving storm, flood impact of 1.9, hail impact 0.1. So of course it's not producing severe hail right now, but still we must track it very closely because it is moving northerly at 15 miles per hour with a precip rate of just over a half an inch and a speed of approximately 16 miles per hour. It's an older storm cell, 82 minutes, and it's a strong storm cell. Wind impact of about 1.5. And, you know, in this case here, while the max hail size isn't threatening, I think anytime we see a storm cell that's just not moving terribly fast, 15 miles per hour is not the fastest moving storm I've ever seen. So we have to watch it very closely. Katharia, thank you much for joining us. We're so grateful that you're joining us tonight. We already discussed what was happening with Imelda. We are now tracking these storms right here, moving across the Great Basin. This one in particular is moving northeastward, flood impact of 1.5, hail impact of 2.5, moving northeast at 24 miles per hour. And what do we have in that line is Mount Valley Elementary School. I mean, school's out, it's nighttime, but still, I don't know if there are any local games. You never know, but you definitely have to be aware of what could be happening, right? So that's one of the bigger concerns there. And we have a max speed of 24 miles per hour and a hail size of 1/10 of an inch, okay? Now we're going to look at this storm cell right behind it. It's a different one. Also moving northeastward, but the precip rate is higher, over 1.5 inches rainfall per hour. And we have max hail size also at 1/10 of an inch. Speed is 37 miles per hour. And we have a weaker wind impact, but the precip rate is higher, okay? It's moving fast, so that will be a little bit more helpful, especially as far as, you know, whenever we're waiting with these slower moving storms, that sometimes I can be concerned about. We're just concerned about how slow they're moving, how much rain they're dumping. Okay. This one's faster moving, yet still got to watch it very closely. Okay. You can see it. These guys are firing up and they're moving kind of fast. So here we have some wind warnings and wind concerns. Here's your wind advisory issued in effect from 11 a.m. Tuesday until 1 p.m. Wednesday. South winds 20 to 30 miles per hour, gusting up to 50 miles per hour. Humboldt interior and southwestern Humboldt. And wind gusts will be particularly strong along the windward ridges and exposed coastal headlands. So I think that's going to be something that's really, I like this update because it is including the coastal headlands. And so you're now going to think about other, in this area especially, you're going to think about, okay, what do I have to do to be prepared, especially for the windward ridges. And let's just go in a little bit and just take a closer look at all these wind advisories and alerts that have been issued by the National Weather Service. So Eureka, there you are. You're in the mix. We also have another wind advisory for Shasta Valley, right? Grenada, Weed, Montague, and portions of Interstate 5 at Highway 97 back to Oregon. We have this wind advisory remaining in effect until 11 p.m. local time on Tuesday. While the winds have eased with as the front passed or front moved today, with the passage of the front is what they have their verbal written. The wind advisory will be allowed to expire, but we're still, there's still a concern there with wind gusts that could top out at 50 miles per hour. So very, very smart update there. And then of course, we've got to move on over to another drumroll wind air quality alert issued. And this one, we've seen this one for quite a few days there. We also saw the one that's in Washington State. So please be advised there. Wind air quality advisory. I keep saying wind advisory. I think that's good. That's what I'm staring at, right? But we also have a special weather statement here that's just been populated. You can't see it until I take this off. Hang on, guys. All right, there it is. I'm sure it's got to do radar indicated storm situation. Special weather statement. Strong thunderstorm will impact northwestern Ada, west central Boise, Payette Canyon, northwestern, southwestern Adams, Washington counties at 8:51 p.m. Doppler radar indicated a cluster of strong thunderstorms along a line extending from the California mountain to near Elephant Butte, and movement was 60 miles per hour. Pea-sized hails, we said it was 1/10 of an inch. So nominal, but I mean, if it's your car and you're the one driving in it, It's not nominal, right? We still have to respect the weather. Gusty winds could knock down tree limbs, blow around unsecured objects, and it could be a problem as far as reduced visibility. Dennis plays bass. Hello, welcome as well. We've got quite a nice group for this Monday. We already have gone over Imelda. Imelda is OTS, still impacting, though, by way of coastal issues, flooding, rip currents, and dangerous seas. And then we have our special weather statement in Idaho because we are tracking some strong storms. And you can see here, strongish storms. We just got to watch these very closely, okay? Let's see what else we have. Very quickly, once again, let's just address the issue. You can see the rip current and beach hazard risks all up and down the eastern seaboard, which was something that we all were concerned about yesterday. We wanted to see that up and down the East Coast. We were just like, hey, we really don't want to just see one area, because mainly what we saw was the southeastern portion through like the southern mid-Atlantic. Like, that's a no. So now everybody is included in this, and we like that. Let me take off my recon. We were tracking. We weren't sure if it was the Hurricane Hunter Orion or Hercules. That was one of the questions as well. And so now we see that Imelda's path is going to continue to move. Let's get our spaghetti track on. It's going to continue to move northeastward, right? And again, we talked about what we saw and how the combination of oh, wait, why did I just added Invest 98E? No. We're going to get Imelda on there, guys. Hang tight. We're getting Imelda. All right. It's just thinking. Sometimes the computer has to think in the meantime, as it does think. Antonio2505, thank you so much for joining us. There's your spaghetti plot. We're going to also add our satellite image and our radar image. Okay, there you go. So now we have everything on. And as I said to you before, we were doing a couple of things, guys. We were acknowledging the winds at the surface. Once again, I have my Saratoga Springs. This is not sponsored by Saratoga Springs, but for those of you out there who know somebody at Saratoga Springs, you make sure they let me know. Because seriously, this is like my favorite drink. I can live off of that stuff. Okay, Coca12, thank you so much for joining us. All right, so once again, while Imelda is moving northeastward, it's gotten essentially ensnared by Umberto. I love that word, ensnared. So because of your because of the circulation, there's your little blue hand, right handy dandy blue hand. The what we refer to as cyclonic rotation, okay? You see that right there? That's actually just pulling in the path. It makes sense. I mean, this is the steering mechanism. This is pretty much whenever we're looking at that Bermuda Azores high in the middle of the summer, this is where it's parked. So no surprise here that we're going to see, as we see Umberto move towards the east, northeast or northeast, we see him wrapping Imelda up. And then, of course, that stationary boundary that I complained about on Friday because I was worried about the slow-moving storms and the threat of flash flooding is exactly what also helped move Imelda eastward. So now let's get to our winds at 700 millibars. And now there you go. Do you understand what I'm telling you guys? When I say to you guys, it's not just one thing that we're going to look at here. We're looking at so many pieces of information. This is so incredibly important anytime we're talking about this, okay? Because here what we're seeing is we're at 700 millibars, and now we're seeing what exactly is happening at the mid and upper levels. And actually, technically, the mid level would be here at 500 millibars, okay? Can you guys see that? Let me, let's see. Sorry, I've got to think of my branding. For anybody who's done branding and has done like the whole fiasco of USPTO, I mean, shout out to the USPTO. That's a lot of work that they do. But to get those trademarks, listen, I am not removing that right now. I'll move the map before I move that off of there. Okay, so here. Can you see that we're at the middle levels of the atmosphere? Really quickly, I'm going to compare and contrast surface wind, surface wind. Okay. Can you see the surface wind? You actually, this is where you get that stationary boundary that's giving you more. You can actually get a better idea of that stationary boundary. And then we're going to say, you know what? Hey guys, let's go to the middle of the atmosphere. Let's go 500 millibars. And there you start to see just how the mid-level, the steering, what happens in the mid-levels of the atmosphere are such big stories, okay? When it comes to weather, this is why I show you so many types of models and so much information, because I want you guys to be really clear that it's not just one thing that impacts the weather. It's not just one thing that is the weather maker. And in this case, like, oh, the front came through and it was stationary and that's why I melt. No, that's not why. There were a series of things that happened. And this is a wonderful opportunity for us to really learn and get to know more about how these and how our oceans are working and how these fronts are working and how the mid-level, the mid-latitude dynamics impacts everything. So that's a super, I love this image here at 500 millibars. And then of course, as you guys know, last night we went to 250. And then normally we'd go to 300, not right now, but we'll go 300 in about another month or so, maybe 2 months. We'll go 300. Okay. That's just with the colder, denser air. But guys, look at that right here. So understand that at 250, now you're talking about your subtropical jet, your polar jet, right? And look what's happening. That's the driving mechanism. That's essentially the steering mechanism. And look what it's doing. It's just moving Imelda out of here. And that's what we needed. All right. So that's wonderful news there. Let's take a quick look at any thunderstorms potential, any SPC convective outlooks. We didn't see this threat here. We're definitely seeing this system stalling out just a little bit. You know what? I'll leave that right there. Oh, there we go. All right. It's just a minute. It's just needed some time to think. Definitely slowing me down just a little bit here as far as what's happening with our graphics there. And that's just because I have a lot of graphics loaded in here. Lots of graphics. So with that said, guys, what I'm going to do is hi, Chrissy Lee. Thank you so much for joining us. We talked about the threat of what was happening with Imelda and how Imelda is continuing to move northeastward. Yet we do have concerns for the coastal, for the entire East Coast, up and down the eastern seaboard, right? So stay with us here at Weather Co-op TV, where weather meets community, and we are going to keep you updated. I'm going to go ahead, download this. I will update this. As you guys know, we'll post some shorts. We'll also post these across all of our platforms, and then we'll just have this loop again 24/7. It's what we do. I'm always updating you guys. The sun. What do we say around here? Weather doesn't stop, so we don't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. All right, guys. Have a great night.